right, back up. What's the word? What you heard? Cicero mode. Vlog 64. Last vlog of 2021. Wrapping up the year, man. Cicero mode. Creative, music, and media. What I like to create, produce, and promote. And I like to take a sip of this tiny water before we get started. But yeah, man. Vlog 64. Last one of the year. Off top, man. Hope everybody had a very Merry Christmas. Xmas. Kwanzaa. It's getting popping. So whatever you celebrated, if you did anything with the fam, hope that went well. Hope you enjoyed yourselves. And a little downtime. But yeah, I'm here at right off of Broadway, Tyler. So there's gonna be a little bit of car noise. But yeah, man, last vlog of the year. 2021 has been one hell of a year, that's for sure. I've got my little list up there of what I'm going to talk about. I said I was going to wrap up 2021, so I guess we'll just start with that. But yeah, you know, interesting year coming off of 2020 was definitely, you know, things were getting a semblance of back to normalcy a little bit towards the middle of the year, but there's still been, you know, got the Omicron back off popping. A lot of the vaccine stuff was going on all year, so I know when we got into 2021, there was that relief of, oh, we're done with the 2020. Oh, it's the worst year ever. You know, I actually threw on my EP on Spotify, The Break. Go check that out. It's on all platforms, The Break. But the last track is actually on New Year's Eve, the countdown, when I was DJing at Breakers. You know, and just that kind of 2020, oh, we finished it. We're done with this, the worst year of all time. And, you know, I think it seems like from a lot of people's viewpoints, 2021 was somewhat better, but not much. You know, there was still a lot of uncertainty, but I feel like things got, you know, closer back to normal, or at least able to kind of get your footing back on what things were going to be next. You know, 2020 had the most uncertainty. Seemed like 2021, at least, you know, everybody was able to make some adjustments, make some changes, you know, and begin to, you know, move forward. So, you know, I think that's going to continue into 2022. It's weird to say because, again, everybody's making the joke about, oh, 2020, TOO, you know, 2. It's going to be just like, you know, 2020 or something. But I don't know. I don't think so, man. I'm vaguely positive. No, yeah, I'm looking up. You know, I think everybody just has to, you know, put the best foot forward, aim for what they're trying to achieve, work towards that. You know, be kind, be good to your family, and you know, I think good things will come. You know, is kind of my approach, I guess. You know, I think in years past for me, I definitely, you know, held on to that hustle mentality. You gotta grind it out no matter what, and the grind will lead to whatever it is, happiness, money, accomplishment, success. You know, there goes the haters. But AMC again, right on Broadway, so there's always a little bit of action. But yeah, you know, so I think that was always kind of my mindset. I think also just being a small town country boy, growing up, you know, in a more rural, on a farm, really, ranch, you know, doing day-to-day chores. I think that's also something that kind of gets, you know, bred into you is, you know, there's those repetitive things that you do every day, you know, will end up paying off, which I think they still do. But I think somehow a lot of people got that switched into, you know, just grinding on whatever it is for those grand goals instead of the day-to-day. So it's weird. It's like you still gotta do those things, the repetitive things that will get you where you want to get, but I think with a different understanding as opposed to you know, I guess how long it's gonna take for those things. So I think the hustle mentality is something that is always good. You know, it's new year, new me is what everybody gets into, but I know definitely what I want to do is try to find better ways to still perfect my crafts, work towards the things, my skill sets, add to my skill sets, but not so necessarily get tied in on, you know, I guess trying to control the outcome through the hustle or through that work. Know that the work is the work. You have to learn from experience, from what you're putting in, and hopefully doing things that you do enjoy, and you know, come what may, but you got to enjoy the work. So I've always been a person, I think, that can always, you know, look for the lofty goal. And, you know, I think that can sometimes lead to the, again, like I'm saying, hustle mentality for this end all goal, which, you know, there's no telling when it's going to come, how it's going to come, why, when, all of those questions. So you got to figure out a way to not get caught up in those. So talk a little bit more about that when I talk about one TV show here towards the end. A lot of things ended in, or, you know, a lot of things have just kind of ended right here at the last vlog of the year. But as far as 2021, man, I feel like, you know, still was pretty productive. Back on the DJ end, you know, we're able to get back out and gig a lot more than I was in 2020. That's for sure. Was able to get a new ride because of, you know, being able to get back to work. So definitely very grateful for that. The old Kia Cicerento is doing his thing. That's where I've been doing these vlogs from. So, yeah, man, I'm glad that that transpired. You know, definitely going to be still grinding on the mobile DJ gig, but excited about adding some new things. Again, some new skills, some new opportunities in 2022. So all I can say on that, I guess, is stay tuned. It's going to be good. And it's going to be exciting. It's like a fly in here. You better get out of here, bro. We'll be swatting you all day. All right. So, yeah, good way to wrap up that portion of it. But, yeah, man, so I hope everybody else, you know, feel like they had a productive 2021. Let's get on it. Let's find ways to grow. And, again, not necessarily just through the hustle, but through everything. So looking at my notes here. So yeah, 2021 is done. Last things I'm kind of working on to wrap up the year. I've got a wedding coming up. Got that this week, and then doing a New Year's event over in Jacksonville as far as the mobile DJ tip. Still working on some music, and got new CiceroList coming out. Probably gonna drop that tomorrow. CiceroList number 48. If you know how to count, 12 times 4, 48. That's going to be my 4th year, completed year of doing the monthly playlist. So I'm really excited about that. Probably going to start talking some shit on Twitter and whatnot about, you know, 4 years of playlists, Twitter, where you at, or 4 years of playlists, Spotify, where you at. You know, so definitely still enjoy doing that. You know, was checking out the homie Matthew McConaughey. Shout out to him. He was talking about, obviously, journaling, because he has the Green Lights book, which I talk about on here a lot, that I read. And, you know, he was talking about how do you journal. It really doesn't matter. It's different for everybody. And I've talked on here about how, for me, my journaling has been doing these playlists. So for 4 years, I feel like I have been journaling through these playlists. So be on the lookout for CiceroList 48. I'll have it up, have the, you know, a link here on IG, and then I'll also, you know, have all the links to Spotify. So add me on there and follow me on the Twitter links. I'll put it there too. So yeah, got that going. Went to another movie. There's been a lot of movies coming out. I talked about the Spider-Man last vlog. So I guess the last movie I'll kind of dive into before the end, because I did go see it on Wednesday, was Matrix Resurrections. And hey, a little bit of spice, right? I guess, you know, I've seen some interesting takes on the movie. I'm going to take a sip of this smoothie and then talk about my take. But no, for me, again, last week I talked about how dope The Matrix was for, obviously, science fiction culture, action movies, every movie, films in general. You know, so I knew going in when they announced all this, I was like, man, it's going to be tough to top what it did, you know. So I think, you know, I think overall I like The Matrix. I like it has some really dope concepts in it. It did get a little heavy-handed on certain things, but I kind of just like to think of it as saying, Matrix Resurrections. What would happen if your movie became self-aware? Because that's definitely kind of one of the themes that they bring up throughout. You know, and again, there's tons of movies that break the fourth wall, you know, kind of pull you into hey, you know you're watching a movie. We know this is a movie. That whole deal. You know, the one kind of fallback or cutback I will have to say on it, not is, yeah, it's definitely self-aware, a little bit to a fault, I think, because, you know, they end up wanting you to just, hey, you remember what we did? It was the greatest. Nobody can top that, and nobody will top it, and nobody should try, or not that nobody should try, but, you know, there's a lot of that. We're gonna do the Matrix again. The way the plot works, I mean, I guess I can spoiler it. We'll spoiler a little bit. But yeah, you know, like Keanu Reeves, Neo, is back in the Matrix, not knowing he's Neo. He just knows he's a video game developer that created a game called The Matrix. So that way, you know, all the memories and things that he thought he did, nope, that's just what you use to create this world for these video games. So that's why, you know, if he has any crazy dreams, if he has any thoughts of trying to break out of this Matrix simulation, you know, he can play it off as, oh no, it was just, you know, the game, or I'm just thinking about the game, or something like that. So I think that was kind of good. I mean, I like there's one part where they just flat out say, like, Warner Brothers said they're gonna make a fourth Matrix with or without you, so we got to get on board, you know, like that kind of thing, which probably was something that a lot of these, you know, Warner Brothers, who is the actual overall, you know, who did the movie, you know, probably was saying that shit, you know, I'm sure at some point, because the Matrix was so successful. I don't think they would just, yeah, want to not do that. And a lot of these suits, you know, which again, they talk about suits in there, you know, they don't know what it takes creatively to pull off what the Matrix did. They just saw the you know, the acclaim, the critical acclaim, and them dollars, and they're just like, hey, it's called The Matrix, it should make the same dollars. Not necessarily. So I definitely think the one Wachowski that came back to do this one, she wanted to talk some shit, you know, and rightfully so. You know, again, everything that they're saying about the Matrix and what it did, how it revolutionized film, all that stuff, it did it, you know. But at some point, you know, you don't have to toot your horn that hard. So in the movie, there's just a couple extra scenes of that. I think if they took a few of those scenes out, it would have just, you know, kind of kept the eye rolls down, because I could kind of feel them. I had a few of them when you just keep going back to these jokes about, you know, what do these people even want today? They don't even understand what movie's taking it, you know, all that. That's fine. I understand that's the social commentary, but it just came off heavy-handed and, like, you know, holier than thou or something. But I mean, with that said, I think it did have some really cool concepts and ideas for where our society is now, with technology. You know, I talked about that last week, obviously, and I'm doing another thing on this damn phone, a live video. So technology is obviously very important for our, as human beings, as our culture at this point. I don't know what you want to call it, anything. Mankind. We use that shit a lot, and we depend on it quite a bit. So, you know, when the first Matrix came out, we were just getting into the internet age, and it was all about, you know, plugging into the modem like we were doing with dial-up internet. Now everything is on, you know, a phone or through Wi-Fi, or, you know, so there is no connected into a hard line, you know, and I think that comes a lot into the whole, you know, you're plugged into the Matrix, the thing in the back of your head. So they couldn't take that out, but, you know, they changed kind of the way they would go into the Matrix. No more phone booths. They can go through mirrors, because mirrors can be moved around. Phones kind of resemble mirrors, if you think about it. People use them obviously as a mirror when they want to fucking do this with the video or just the black screen. So I think that was really cool. It's like, hey, Neo and them fucked up the entire, you know, strategy of the Matrix, of keeping mankind, keeping humans as batteries for these robots, you know. That's been all messed up, and you got to go through the truce with the robots and all that they figured out. So, you know, the new antagonist to this film was able to recreate the Matrix, still obviously resurrect Neo and Trinity, and, you know, make some changes to how the Matrix worked, how it gains energy from humans. And I thought all that was really dope. You know, they tied in, you know, the homie on the other video I was watching earlier was reviewing it, talking about how, you know, the guy that breaks it all down in the old Matrix was the, whatever his name was, the architect, you know, but he called him Colonel Sanders, which works out too. Well, this one is called the analyst. And as well as being an analyst, he's a therapist, which I don't know if anybody knows Arrested Development. There's a joke sitting there. If you're an analyst and a therapist, you can make a card. I'm going to leave it alone. Shout out to people that know that joke. But yeah, so that's what the character is. Sir Doogie Howser, Neil Patrick Harris. So I was a big How I Met Your Mother fan, so, you know, I'd call him Barney too. But yeah, his character is the one that kind of recreated this Matrix to make it different. And I think it does reflect society now as well, because as opposed to putting people in the Matrix and making them like never even realize they're in a simulation, you know, what he did was put people in a Matrix, utilize what Neo did for those video games, almost bring it into pop culture relevancy so that everybody, I mean, like it did, which again, I thought that was clever because again, the Matrix became a fucking verb or what? Or just a noun or, you know, a different type of a noun than you would think. I don't know. My English wording is off. I ain't been in no English class in a while as I mess up some more English grammar. But no, you know what I mean? Hey, you're plugged into the Matrix, or you need to get out the Matrix, or it's a glitch in the Matrix. You know, this is just things that people would say, you know, and you would already know what it meant. I don't even know if you ever saw the Matrix, you would still have to know those phrases. Because you'd be like, what? And somebody would be like, you never saw the Matrix? Oh, well, it's like this and that. That means it's fake. Oh, okay. And then they probably use the phrase, or at least they know it. So that shows how far the reach for the Matrix went. And I thought it was really cool how, yeah, that's kind of what they did in this new simulated Matrix. They're like, the Matrix exists in this world. So people might still say that, oh, you caught in the Matrix. But that's a way for them to just think, you know, to just forget the fact that they actually could be in a simulation. So the analyst has everybody aware, again, self-aware of the existence of the concept, I guess, more the concept of the Matrix. That keeps them not even thinking about if they are in the Matrix. But obviously Neo and Trinity they're the ones, you know, that's kind of a spoiler too, but, you know, they have a little more of a, I guess, you know, a sense of that this is still something. You know, they talk about these dreams or these hints of ideas, as well as, again, the new analyst talks about what he did to garner more energy from them, as opposed to just letting them stay kind of dormant, is, you know, more brain cognitive function through nightmares, through risky behavior, things like that. So his whole deal was, I have to keep these people subdued but worked up, you know. And to me, that just makes tons of sense for where we're at today in society with the internet, with social media. What hits the hardest? Outrage, you know, people being upset at some shit, you know, sad about some shit, or bad news, you know, everything. That's what drives comments, clicks, views, is all the outrageous, all the outlandish stuff. So pretty much that's what he's saying. That's what garners the most energy. So that's why he keeps them in these kind of, you know, a different type of loop, or a different type of, you know, simulation than the other one. And I think it does reflect society today. So I thought that was cool. Again, just kind of, I guess, explaining that was a little heavy-handed. Luckily, it is on HBO Max, so I saw it in the theater and then was able to go back and, you know, watch some of those long dialogue scenes again and, you know, break them down. But I think that's most of the conceptual stuff that I really liked. I thought was dope. You know, again, the member berries and nostalgia play. I understand that they understand that it's a big play now in Hollywood. You know, everybody's doing it. We just went to the Spider-Man, which was not as heavy on it, but a huge nostalgia play as well. So a lot of movies are doing it. I mean, everything new that comes out is pretty much an old movie, a reboot. And that was another comment it made. But I think everybody already understood that. So it wasn't like such a revolutionary concept to be like, hey, Hollywood's getting lazy as hell, y'all. Like, we know. Like, we've been in this for a while now. I saw one reviewer was saying, like, you know, if this came out like 6 or 7 years ago, it might have been great because we weren't quite there yet. Star Wars was just getting rebooted, you know, and it just wasn't as much. But now all the major, you know, properties, ideas almost have been rebooted, which sucks. And that's the thing that made The Matrix so dope, that it wasn't. It was original. But yeah, so that was dope. Other dope things about The Matrix, I still like the White Rabbit track. The score is pretty dope. I'll probably put something from that on the CiceroList this week. And I like, you know, the young Asian girl that was like the kind of newer Trinity character, Bugs. She was dope. I can't remember her name off the top, but I know she was also in like Iron Fist, you know, so she's done a few other things. And she said she passed on being in Shang-Chi, hoping that they bring her character back with Daredevil and all that. But yeah, I think she did dope. I mean, she did some of the action scenes were just her, and they were dope. I thought she was, you know, good acting, stood out as far as the new characters. Bringing back Morpheus, I don't know if they necessarily needed it, or the program of Morpheus, you know. I think that was just, again, them thinking that if all these other extra elements of the Matrix aren't there, people aren't even going to consider it, you know, correct. But if that's the case, it should have been Lawrence Fishburne, although what's his name did well, I think. But yeah, I just think really didn't need Morpheus in there, and didn't need the Mr. Anderson guy either. You know, could have just been new characters, I think. And, you know, take out a little bit of the heavy-handed kind of exposition about, you know, the Matrix and self-awareness of that, and the commentary on what you did. And I think you got a little bit tighter movie, but I don't think it's as bad as people are trying to play it up as right now. I just think a lot of people went to Spider-Man, and then they went to that, and it was a little more heavy-handed on nostalgia, and people just not realizing that there was no way the Matrix could do what it did again. I don't think it needed to tell us that in the movie. Just do what you're gonna do, and, you know, try to do it a little more fresh, as opposed to reminding us of the conundrum of, I know I can't beat what we did, but here you go, you know. But I think it still has some great ideas and great concepts. So I say check it out. Off top, I'd have to give The Matrix a B. Yeah, just a B. Maybe a B plus. I mean, I do think some of the concept was dope. I think the action was overall pretty good. But we'll go just B. So check it out. I mean, again, I think you have to understand the old Matrix, but understand it's not that like any other program, like these damn phones we use. It's a different version. It's been an updated version with new settings. So that's why the Matrix in the movie is different. That's why the Matrix 4 is different than Matrix 1, 2, and 3. So that's my thoughts on that. That went very long. I already talked about CiceroList, so I don't have too much else. Insecure, though, also wrapped up. My big bro was in town. Shout out to him. He also beat me in fantasy for, you know, the holidays. So he's going to the finals. So shout out to him. Congrats. But we got to kick it and watch the last episode of Insecure, a show that we've both kind of watched all the way through, even though we're black dudes. Just because Issa Rae's story is really cool, you know, being in the creative fields. It was a feel-good story to see her start on YouTube, come all the way up, get this show, and it be so successful. So the episode itself was, I mean, it's tough to do the last episode of these. You know, like I said, this whole season has kind of felt victory lap-ish, or just, hey, we're wrapping it up. We're not going to get into too much. We're just, you know, like, make sure everybody can cry and hug and smile with each other. And they did that in this. It jumped from birthdays, you know, went like 3 or 4 years down the road. So it feels like instead of closing up the story where it was, or finishing that and then leaving it open to like, hey, who knows what's next? You know, it kind of was trying to, you know, put a bow on, pretty bow on a lot of things. Two, I don't know, I guess to keep the audience a little more subdued, happy with the ending. Everybody don't want a what WTF, what the fuck ending. Me and my brother were also watching Tenet, you know. I was kind of comparing it to that. I was like, you can't do that with Insecure. They don't want to walk out going, what? So they kind of wrapped some things up I don't think they needed to do. I kind of compared it to How I Met Your Mother, which, again, that was a great sitcom, rom-com-y show, too. Like, I'm not really dissing it. It's just, you know, obviously if you follow the show, there was a lot of backlash about how that finale worked out. But, you know, it wasn't that bad. With How I Met Your Mother, though, it's built into the show. How I Met Your Mother. And throughout the show, they're building up to that and building up to just all of that, you know. So it did put a little bit, it made it harder on their finale. And I think that's what hurt How I Met Your Mother. But this does kind of the same stuff with, oh, it was so-and-so all along. You know, you could say it was Lawrence all along. It was Molly, her friend, all along. But I do like the few concepts, few lines she had. One when she's in the mirror and she's talking to herself, her, you know, subconscious self that's been throughout the series there, kind of bouncing ideas or like gassing her up or tearing her down. You know, she says to herself when she's kind of tearing her down, herself in the mirror, like, I'm just ready to get to that part of life when everything is worked out, you know, and the things just like, good luck, you know, and that's kind of what I said in my mind too, is like, you know, I think that is a sign of maturity, and I think that was cool she added it, because when you're young, or younger, I'm not super old, but yeah, just young, you definitely had that feeling of like, after this, I'll be good, you know, whatever. After I get my car, after I get through college, or once I get my own apartment, you know. But life is going to keep happening, and stuff's going to happen, so you got to be ready to be continuously in the fight, you know. And I like how they kind of brought that up, and how the subconscious thing kind of laughed at her. And then, you know, the other cool line down in there she was talking about is how, you know, I was always saying, you know, that I couldn't accomplish this, or, you know, just, you know, I always was trying to get to where I wanted to get. And, you know, I didn't think I could get there, but the only person that was doubting me was myself. You know what I mean? It was like everybody else was with me. I was the doubt, you know, and I think that's also what that mirror represented, is like, she talked to the mirror throughout the entire series. And that could have been just a formation of doubt a lot of times, or just overthinking shit, you know, which I am very kin to overthinking. So I really liked how they tied that in with it. So I like that line. They kind of then they messed it up, because then they put like Lawrence there, and he's like, oh, well, do you feel confident now to move forward? And made it like the relationship, where I more felt like she was talking about her career. But I think anything, you know, it could be a relationship, be a career, be whatever you're working towards. So I think that's why she brought it up. And I like that part. I think that is what I'm holding on to from the episode the most, is that kind of that realization that she came to, which I know for sure she means for her career. You know, again, coming up through YouTube, she didn't go any traditional routes of, you know, whatever, doing a lot of stand-up, but, you know, she just had to put herself out there that way, and that's what got her to where she is. So shout out to Issa Rae, shout out to Insecure, a great show, you know, a great run, a monumental run for that type of a show from a black female, you know, writer. So yeah, super dope. And I'm gonna get ready to wrap up. 7 o'clock on the dot. No, 7:03. But, you know, wrapping up the last vlog, man. Vlog 64. I've rambled on about quite a few things, but I won't be here until next year, right? Won't see y'all until next year again. So shout out to everybody that's checked out the vlogs, rocking with me. Working on some new music. Might try to do another little beat video. But like I said, working on the CiceroList. I was maybe going to do a top 5 albums of the year or something, but I might do that just as like an IG post or something. So we'll see. Stay tuned. Cicero mode. I'm going to get out of here, man. Y'all, again, happy holidays. Happy New Year. See you in 2022. Later.